Hey guys, my guest today is a 12-time award-winning author from Chicago who is also a member of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. An author with Mascot Books, she writes beautiful rhyming, lesson-based picture books that naturally lead to a discussion about important topics such as bullying prevention and honesty. At 5'1", she wishes her first book, Being Small Isn't So Bad After All, was around when she was growing up. With her today is a very special guest, her 7-year-old daughter, ambitious daughter, I'd like to add, who came up with the idea to design bracelets to help raise money for Lurie Children's Hospital, a place that helped her in her first days of her young life. On a goal of $200, she now is closing in on close to $20,000 raised. What an incredible accomplishment. Welcome to the show, Lurie and Hayley Orlinsky.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Do you know how incredible you are, Hayley?
I'm just a sidekick.
$20,000. Do you know that's more than some cars? That's more money than some cars on the road. Look at this, guys. Being small, right, isn't so bad after all. And I love this, too. The Tooth Fairy's Tummy Ache is the other book that Lurie has written. Lurie, thank you for being here. And
I'm so excited to talk to you.
This is awesome. And it's amazing. So people can check you out at LurieOrlinskyAuthor.com. And Orlinsky is spelled ORLINSKY, author.com. You're on Instagram and Facebook. You keep it nice and simple for us. Lurie Orlinsky Author as well. All one word, is you guys know who's the social media savvy audience is going to know that. Hayley, I see you smiling. Are you excited to be here today?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm wearing?
Put on lipstick.
Oh, look at this. This bracelet right here, everybody, was handmade by Hayley. And I'm going to show a picture because my daughter, Isabel, who's a couple years younger than you, she's 5. You're 7, right?
Yep.
So she's only 2 years younger than you. She has one on each hand. I'm going to show a picture right here. I know we can't see it right now, but I'm going to put it in there so everybody can see my daughter, Isabel, rocking out with your bracelets. I took her out to dinner yesterday, and she was so excited to get that as a gift. Actually, I put both books in the bag that you guys sent them in, and I had her open up in the car as a present. You know, her first day of school was 2 days ago, so it's part of her first day of school gift.
That's so exciting.
So
it starts next week.
The timing, I know when this actually comes out, when this is released, it's going to be weeks after the beginning of the school year, but it's still the school year right now. A lot of people are going through, we're in the middle of the pandemic still as we record this, and the school year is pretty crazy. Hayley, you're actually doing school from home, right? Remote learning?
Yep.
And this is the first time you're ever doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kind of excited about it, that you get to see mommy more?
Yeah.
We decided we're going to have like a lunch date every couple days. We'll do something special.
Yeah. Now, Lurie, are you also working from home?
I am working from home too, just indefinitely until the pandemic is over.
Yeah. Talk about that. So how are you balancing getting work done while Hayley's running around looking for your attention all day long?
Well, what do I drink every morning from Starbucks? A very big what?
Coffee.
A very big iced coffee. Yep.
Yeah. Cheers to coffee.
Cheers. I mean, I drink 1 or 2 a day, and then I get a jolt of energy, and then I crash and burn at 8 o'clock at night. But, we're all doing the best that we can do. My younger daughter started school. She's in preschool. So she's wearing a mask all day long. Kids are very resilient, I think, much more so than we are, or at least than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But Hayley's excited. We got a little desk set up for her. She has a Chromebook, and she has a little banner that says my first day of school. And so she'll be doing it. I think it's 7 hours, and maybe out of the 7, 4.5-ish are remote.
Oh, okay. So she is going in then?
The other time, some is live and some is independent learning.
I understand, but it's all from home.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And you start on Tuesday, right? You have one more week?
Yep.
Yeah. What are you going to do? How are you going to enjoy the last few days of your summer vacation? What do you like to do?
Where have you been going this summer?
We have been relaxing.
What camp do you go to?
Oh, I've been going to different camps.
So this
Camps?
week is
Yeah.
ninja camp.
Now, do you sleep in like a big tent outside, or is it more like a cabin?
She just goes to day camps.
Day camps. Okay. Have you ever been in one of those big tents? Those are pretty cool.
No, we haven't.
No.
Maybe Dad will take.
That's something maybe next summer you can look forward to that. So here's what I want to say, guys. If you're tuning in again, we have Lurie and Hayley. Lurie is a phenomenal writer. These books are incredibly written. The rhyming is really creative, and the storytelling's awesome. I got to give a shout out to Vanessa as well, the illustrator, because these pictures, I'm going to actually cut to some pictures from inside the book so you guys can see that a little bit closer. Absolutely love the storytelling in your books. Again, creative writing, rhyming, extremely well done. When did your passion for writing begin?
Wow. So Hayley is the little one that inspired everything. So I had pursued a career in marketing, but I went to journalism school, and I've always been a writer. I write for magazines in my free time. And this little one, who was a very outgoing kid when she was 3 years old, came home from school one day in tears and refused to tell me what was wrong. And it took a lot of crying. And I found out that her teachers in her class had hung a growth chart as just like redecorating the classroom. And while all her friends' names were at the top and the middle of the growth chart, her name was like all the way at the bottom by the bottom of the door. And for her, it was the first time she realized that she was different from her peers. And it was also the first time that other people, peers and teachers, realized that she was different, because they went from calling her Hayley to then nicknaming her playful things like Shorty and Peanut. And she didn't like that at all.
Now, that was students or the teachers who did that?
I think both.
Both.
And none of it was intended to be, mean. It was just kind of like sidekicky. But for her, the worst part was like, as a child, you associate things on the top as the best and on the bottom as the worst. And so every day when she was in that classroom, she felt like she was the worst. And then on top of it, people were calling her Shorty. They weren't calling her Hayley. And she's like, I don't want to go to school anymore. And I'm like, oh, come on. This is just a preschool class. But I'm short. I'm only 5'1". And I remember instances when I felt left out. One big one is like, I love to ride rides and roller coasters, and I always had to watch my friends do it at the same age when I couldn't. Or I would have to stuff my shoes with paper towels and stick a ponytail up really high and hope that I, made it. But, and then I was telling her my own story, and it didn't resonate with her. So I said, all right, let me just go on Amazon and find a book about short kids. And what happened?
There was none.
There were no books about
there. Isn't that incredible?
There were books about kids that had superpowers precisely because they were tall. Like, you look at Elastigirl from The Incredibles, and like, she saves the day because she could get so high and tall and stretch. And it was bothersome to me. And I saw a need, and I said, all right, let me write you a book.
Yeah.
And as I was writing it, I thought I might be onto something. And it started out as a book for Hayley, and then it became a book for other parents to read to their kids. Yeah. And then I kind of realized you could take the word short out of the book and sub it for any quality that makes a child feel different. You can sub it for skin color. You can sub it for sexuality, for gender. And it just, the lesson in the book is that, understand that you are special. Just because you're different doesn't make it a bad thing. Different is special and different is unique. And we have to celebrate it.
It's a perspective thing though, too, right? So some of the lessons taught in the book are bullying. That's no good, right, Hayley? And then also perspectives, because for one person, they might be sad that they're short, but then, and do things like this in the book where where is it? I'm trying to show this page here, where they're at the theme park, right? And they use their hair up in a bow so they can get onto the roller coaster. They got to get really crafty to get onto the rides. But it's perspective that's taught in this story that I really loved, is that, in the beginning of the book, the little girl, is it actually Hayley? I forget. I read it a few times already.
It is. It's got one of the pages has a little Easter egg with her name on it.
Yeah, it is. It's Hayley in the story. And what we learn is that what she was sad about in the beginning is what she feels happy about in the end, because then she can sneak into the tiny places. When they're playing limbo, She can get under there. She can bend, right? You can get into the tree fort, all kinds of cool stuff. What do you love about being small, Hayley? Tell us.
That my favorite thing is I'm the last one to get wet when it rains.
I told her that, and it took her a second, and she's like, yeah, really, I get it. And it's just like flipping the switch. And one other thing is that when you say perspective too, it also puts other people's words into perspective. So kids might call her Shorty and Peanut and might think they're being loving and sweet, but really they see that other people might take it at face value.
Mm-hmm. You know, I called my daughter Isabel when she was a baby. I called her Peanut because when we went in and we looked at the picture of her when she was still in her mommy's tummy, she looked like a little peanut.
Aww.
So I always called her Peanut, not because she was necessarily smaller than anybody else, but just because she was a little peanut, you know? And so what's really important is, like, you tell it in the story, is through the creative writing is what we can learn from these lessons. Bullying is one, kind of overcoming adversity is a whole nother topic. And then there's also in the second book, The Tooth Fairy's Tummy Ache. That's all about being honest, right? And I want to hear it from Hayley. What can you tell us about why it's important to be honest first instead of maybe needing to be told later on?
I think you have to be honest because you don't want to lie to people. You don't want to say something to people like I'm the best of something.
And it's interesting. I mean, it's really about white lies, but one funny example is that I took Hayley out of school to do an interview for Being Small. Hayley was on the news, and I signed her back in, and I just, signed her back in, and they said, "Oh, was she sick?" And I didn't want to come out and say, "Nope, we were at the news." So I just, and you know what? And Hayley goes, "Mommy, you're lying." And I, was like, wow, wait, I am. But then I said to her, well, there's a difference between lying that intentionally hurts someone and white lying that's not with bad intentions. And so that was she called me out on that one.
Yeah. Well, how about this oversight? The whole, you live in Chicago. It's not really a small city, but, you're going to be on the news. So if you said you're going to be somewhere else, potentially that person you told is going to see you on the news too. Right? So,
and
maybe not a great lie to say, we're not feeling too good. We're probably going to stay home, and then they see you at the news. Right?
Yeah.
So the lesson, Hayley, the lesson to teach adults and kids that are tuning in right now and learning from you, and that I'd like Isabel to learn, is that it's better, even if it's the story that you have to say, whatever it is, whether it was you lost your tooth because you ate it, because that's what we learn about in the Tooth Fairy's Tummy Ache, is because the little girl ate the tooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what she could have done is just told her mommy or told the Tooth Fairy about it. Maybe you left a note and said, "I'm sorry, I actually ate the tooth." So for the next one. But what she does is she does what? What does she put under her pillow?
A kernel of popcorn.
A kernel of popcorn. So she's trying to fool the Tooth Fairy, who then ends up what?
What happened?
Problem.
She ends up eating too much popcorn.
Too much popcorn, and she gets a tummy ache, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, the little girl, she finds out the truth. And the Tooth Fairy says, "You know what? You could have just told us the truth from the beginning. I would have been okay with that," right? So that's why it's important that sometimes we think maybe we'll just say something. Maybe if you spilled a plate of food and mommy comes and sees it and she says, "Did you do this?" You know what? You're going to want to say no because you don't want to be in trouble. But it's better to just say, "You know what, Mom, I did it. Let's clean it up. I'll help you clean it up," right? That would
we
be
talk
better.
a lot about that at home because Hayley has a little sister, and it's constantly, "She did it. No, she did it. No, she did it." And so one thing about the book is it shows consequences when you choose to fib or a little or lie or white lie. It shows the consequences, and they're not always positive. And many times we talk about when you lie, it comes back to bite you in the butt because somebody always finds out, and it's always best to tell the truth.
Yeah. Because if you would have been in trouble in the beginning, maybe it's this much trouble you would have been in bigger if you wait and you lie about it, right? So I want to get right back to your books. I mean, these are incredibly written. Right now, there's a current contest going on. I'm not surprised that you were nominated for this, and I feel you're going to win it. We can actually help you do that. AuthorAcademyAwards.com/finalist 2020. You guys can go on there to vote. You're currently a top 10 global elite author finalist, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I have to ask, I mean, we talked about 12 awards, prestigious awards that you've won. Are you running out of room on the mantle in the living room? And where are you putting all these?
I just feel really lucky. Sometimes I apply, sometimes I get nominated, and it shocks me. It still shocks me every time when I get a good review or when people tell me something positive. I mean, initially, this book was for Hayley, and it's just amazing that it resonates with so many people, and same with the other. And I do have a desk, and I have some certificates hung up, and so they're getting a little tight, but I am so thankful because it's been such a wonderful journey, and it's only been 2.5 years.
Yeah, and you have 2 books out, so my next question is, can we expect more? Because now you got me hooked.
Yes, you're going to be my first person I tell, so I have a book coming out in May of 2021, and the book is Balloons for Tiger, and it's another lesson-based book. So what it's about is our pet Tiger passed away a couple of years ago when she was 18 and a half. Mm-hmm. And the girls decided that they would do a balloon release for her because we thought it was a nice, tangible way to express grief. And they did it, and it was beautiful. But then they kept asking me questions. Where are the balloons now? Do you think they've reached her? Did they see astronauts? And so I thought it would be, we're not religious, so I didn't want to talk to them in a way that was spiritual religious. So I wrote this book called Balloons for Tiger about the journey that the balloons take. So the balloons go over our home, they make it to Rome, they see astronauts, they see a stork, the tooth fairy makes an appearance, they see a tooth fairy delivering or picking up teeth in the middle of the night. And so the book is a way to take an imaginative look at pet grief and pet loss and help children process it in a way that's non-spiritual and non-religious. And so it'll be out in time for National Pet Month in May.
Now, was the name of your pet Tiger, or was it actually a pet tiger?
Tiger was our cat.
Okay. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on here.
And at one point,
we're going to have another Netflix series out here with Lurie.
And at one point, she was like a 16-pound cat. She was very big for a lot. Okay. That's how we remember her. I
thought maybe Hayley, was taming a pet tiger in the house. Can you imagine having a real tiger in the house? No. You know what I love about cats? I'm a big cat person too. Some people love dogs. I also love dogs. But what I love about cats is when you watch a little cat, even a fat cat or a bigger cat, right? When they're moving around in the house, it's like it's like a mini tiger or mini lion in the house, right? The way that their reflexes and the way they look and their mannerisms. It's almost like having a pet. It's like a pet tiger in your living room, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that cool?
We have another cat too, that a young one. What's his name? Hoosier. And he only comes out. When does he only come out?
He only comes out at night. When it's quiet, he hates the loudness.
Hoosier?
Hoosier. That's homage to Mommy's college.
Cool. I was going to say there's got to be a connection to the school. Mm-hmm. So awesome. So the answer is yes, more books coming on, at least one. Balloon for Tiger. Or is it Balloons?
Balloons for Tiger.
Balloons for Tiger. May of 2021. I'm going to keep an eye out for that one.
Thank you. Lesson-based books are so important to me because I think I don't like to sit my kids down and say, we need to have a serious talk about honesty, or we need to have a serious talk about bullying, because it's awkward. It feels forced. It makes the child immediately kind of like revert in and get nervous. And, so I thought I like lesson-based books because you read them and then you can have a discussion about the books without the kids knowing that they're being lectured. You can say, what are the choices that the girl made in the Tooth Fairy's tummy? How could she have made a better choice? And that leads to kind of natural discussions about important topics.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Now, no pressure here, guys, but something I see, obviously, as Hayley grows up and she gets older, there's going to be different topics that come up. eventually it's going off to school. Maybe it's middle school or high school or college or whatever happens after that, right? So do you see maybe inspiring mommy every 2 or 3 years for a new book, maybe?
Yeah.
But how about this? Do you eventually see yourself writing a book? Is that
Yeah.
something you would want to do? Yeah.
Definitely.
She
I
is
could tell. You're smiling the whole time we're talking about this.
she's constantly like getting out construction paper and writing Hayley's story and stapling it together and like making books. And
Yeah.
but what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a news anchor.
News anchor. Okay. That's nice. I was going to ask you that. So we're covering some of this already. Actually, I have a whole set of questions specifically for you, Hayley, but why don't we jump into a couple of those right now? So you mentioned you enjoy reading with mommy, right? Who is your favorite storybook character? Second to yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
Of course, you're number one, but do you have another? It doesn't have to be in mommy's story either. When you're reading a book, what character do you like the most?
I like a lot of characters. I like Alley Cat.
Alley Cat, that's a friend of mine too. Did you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's awesome, isn't she, Allison?
Yep.
My girls love the Alley Cat series. What's your favorite book in the Alley Cat series?
I like Alley Cat and Friendship Friday.
Friendship Friday. Is that the one with the bracelets too?
The yellow cover.
Friendship bracelets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool, isn't it? And then I know that these bracelets is it still available where they can get the Alley Cat if they want to add it to it right on your website?
Yeah, yes. You can get Alley Cat charms.
Charm, that's right. Now, what I'm going to do, anyone who's listening right now and they want to get these bracelets and maybe get the Alley Cat charm, I'm going to put that link. The full-length episode is going on YouTube, so you guys can share it with your friends and family. The link will be in there, okay? We'll do a little promo. I'll also make sure that the link is in there to Mommy's Instagram and Facebook and anywhere that we can find her as well. And if you guys missed it in the top of the show, it's Lurie Orlinsky, author.com. We have Lurie Orlinsky and her daughter Hayley here on the show. Thank you again for being here. I'm going to stick with a couple questions for Hayley here. So what are you most excited for this year in school? No, it's a little different because you're going to be home, but what are you looking forward to the most?
Spending more time with my family.
Yeah. After you do your work though, right?
Yeah.
Of course. What would your perfect day look like? You get to wake up, and what would you do if you can do anything you want?
Wake up late.
Sleep in a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Sleep in. Relax in the pool.
You guys got a nice pool. Got to enjoy it now because I know Chicago, I'm in Buffalo. We're pretty similar when it comes to weather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would you eat?
I would eat candy all day.
What's your favorite kind of candy?
I like all.
All candy, yeah. You know, and I was a big, no pun intended, I was a sucker for gummies. I love gummies.
She doesn't discriminate.
No.
How many cavities? She had 8 cavities last year.
Yeah. I had a moment where it wasn't so much because of the candy, believe it or not, but my mom, she used to come home Friday night grocery shopping, and there used to be a separate bag just for me that she would tuck away in the one cabinet behind all the cups, and that's where I would sneak in and get that's only if I was a good boy. She'd come home and give me a little candy, but it was usually gummies of some sort. Mm-hmm. But I had 11 teeth pulled in one day. Yeah, how about that? I needed to get braces on, and I think I was in 5th grade, and my teeth didn't want to fall out. So the tooth fairy was just taking a nap saying, what are we going to do? Mike's teeth aren't coming out, right? So they had to pull them out. And then they gave them to me in a little baggie, and I made $11 that night.
Don't get any ideas.
What book character, or maybe even a cartoon or movie character, Hayley, which character makes you laugh the most?
I like Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat makes you smile, makes you laugh. Yeah, that's a good one. So here, I want to go back right here to the bracelets. Now, you made a business out of this, right? Raising $20,000. That's absolutely amazing. Do you see yourself actually opening a business someday?
Yeah.
Maybe fashion? What do you see yourself doing?
Maybe like a runway show or something.
What's that?
A runway show.
A fashion runway company.
Oh, a runway show. Okay, yeah. Where you go back and forth and they try different things on, right? That's what you would like to do. That's cool. Hey, you could be a news anchor and you can do fashion on the side.
And
It's
dance.
like, what grade are you in right now?
I'm going into second.
So you're a second grader and you already have a fashion line. Bracelets, right? So you're already doing it. All right, and I'm going to stay with you for one more, and then we're going to come back to you at the end, okay? We're going to get to Mommy in a second. But if you wrote a book, what would that be about?
Oh, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to think.
Yeah? What's something that you enjoy that you would like to tell a story about?
Maybe dance or gymnastics or something.
Dance class or something? Okay. Gymnastics. Very cool. Maybe we'll get to read that someday.
What do you think?
That'd be cool. Because if you put your mind to it, right, and then you maybe think about it and come up with a story and draw some pictures, before you know it, what happens? You got a book. You have a book. You got to put your mind to it, right? We're coming back here to Lurie. So what's one new skill or maybe a positive takeaway from the quarantine?
You know, as much as it's been hard to be with the same people all the time, my husband has a very close relationship with my 4-year-old. She's a daddy's girl. And because she and I have spent so much more time together, we've developed, well, her and I always have had a special bond, but I've really gotten to have a strong, strong bond with my 4.5-year-old Ellie, which has been so special because now I kind of say ha to my husband, but she prefers me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, you know, I think a lot of people can relate to that. When you spend extra time, you kind of get into that, okay, give me some space. But when you think about it, when you kind of reflect on it, you wouldn't want it to be the opposite where you guys weren't seeing each other. So,
Exactly.
But it's important, isn't it? Hayley, sometimes you simply probably want to be in your room, play with your toys, right? Kind of just enjoy yourself for a little bit.
Yeah. And then in a tangible way, I picked up a new skill, gardening. I never thought I would be a green thumb, but we have cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers.
Wow.
So that's been fun. I never would have done it if I didn't have the time.
So some homemade salads at the Orlinsky house. With some
we've been doing a lot of homemade
veggies.
Stuff. Now, I never want to go to produce section in the grocery store because it's not the same.
Yeah, now you don't you appreciate it more when you're chopping that?
So much. When I see that I have a cucumber growing, I'm like, I talk to them. I'm like, oh my gosh, my babies. It's embarrassing. My neighbors have laughed at me, but it's exciting.
Our neighbors, we had, my parents did a little bit of that. We had grapes at one point, and my neighbors always grew zucchini. So we always had zucchini bread, which is something we always enjoyed, and chopped that up too. Now, who is your biggest influence? And that could be anything, Lurie. Someone who inspired you maybe to actually go and write the book. Or I know we got Hayley sitting next to you and she's pointing at her already. But is there someone that you always looked up to growing up? Maybe a role model?
I've always been a big fan of Shel Silverstein, and I love rhyming and poetry. I liked Dr. Seuss, and just as an adult, if I were to ever say I want to meet somebody, I would love to meet Michelle Obama. I think she's so eloquent and well-spoken, and she has a book too, so maybe we can start our own book club.
That's awesome. Well, maybe we can get her to see this somehow. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be great.
I'll see if I can work my connections. You never know, though. What was I just saying? You believe in it, you take action, and you can make it happen, right? If you can give one message to our audience to inspire them to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams, Lurie, what would you tell them?
I would say, it sounds cliche, but never give up. I mean, I sent 200 or 220 emails out with letters saying, please, are you interested in having my book? Here's the manuscript. And I got 199 people that either said, no, it's not a good fit. No, I don't believe in the book. I wish you luck, or they didn't respond. And it was that one yes that changed my life. And so it was not only to not give up, but to be persistent, because follow up, follow through. I mean, I want my kids to see that I hustle and I work hard. And I think when we talk about getting the awards, there's a part of me that is still so humbled, but then there's another part of me that feels satisfaction because I worked very, very hard for it.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah. 199 no's for one yes. That's what it takes, And here's the thing I'll say too, and I'm happy that Hayley's here to hear this, and I'm just telling information that I've learned too. You got to realize that most of the things I know is because I read it somewhere, or the great people I get to interview, or the interviews I watch and listen to. But the thing is, most successful people, especially the highest success, right? They failed way more than anyone else has even tried, right? Michael Jordan, maybe you don't know him because he played when I was 7 years old. And I love Michael Jordan, right? Great ball player. He used to swish the ball all the time. He would jump and it was like he flew in the air. And it seemed like he made every single shot he took, but really he did miss quite a bit too. But guess what? He took more shots than everyone else. So he actually missed more and made more shots than the other guys even tried. So when I'm thinking about sending emails like Mommy did for 200 people, only to get one yes, you got to remember, you know what? She got one yes. If she would have stopped at 50 people, do you think she would have got a yes? No, she would have never met that person, would have never had an opportunity to say yes, right?
And you have to have some thick skin too, because I knew my book was good, but I was told by many, many people it wasn't good enough. And I said, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Now you're talking about this book. Someone read this and said it's not good enough.
The early phases of the manuscript, there were people that just said, the caliber, it wasn't at the caliber it needed to be, or the rhyming was off. And granted, there were a lot of edits that went into it, but overall, the story for a lot of the literary agents and a lot of the publishers just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Talking to Jordan too, Michael Jordan. He also, I think he got cut from his high school basketball team.
Wow.
And local. Now I'm in Buffalo, so our quarterback right now is Josh Allen. A lot of people here do like him. He's kind of polarizing. Some people think maybe he's not going to be the guy, but I personally really like him. He's a likable football player and just plays with his heart. Talk about resiliency. He was told no by, I think, 50 schools before one said yes. And he went to Wyoming and ends up getting drafted in the NFL, 7th player overall of about 200 players that get drafted. So he went 7th overall. And here's I say kid, because at that time he's 21, 22 years old. That was told, no, you're not good enough, not this. He was slow, right? They said he even admitted it. Like in high school, he was not a very fast runner. And then his rookie year in the league, I think he led the league in most rushing yards.
So it just goes to show you got to believe in yourself and never give up.
There's popcorn. There's popcorn in this book right here, Hayley, right? We talk about popcorn. You know what popcorn reminds me of? Kids remind me of popcorn because every kid pops at a different time, just like in the bag, right? Do you ever microwave popcorn? And some of them pop right away, and some of them take 2 minutes to pop. So like Josh Allen, he didn't pop until he was 20 years old for running. And he was called slow, and now they're afraid of him when he runs around. So just like yourself, you might be, short now, and you appreciate those little things you get to do, fit in those little tiny cubbies. But who knows? And the other thing is your height definitely isn't a definition of your character, not a definition of what you can accomplish in the world, because it's what's up here and a combination of what's in here. When you take your heart and your mind, I believe you can do anything. Do you believe that, Hayley?
What's interesting in writing this book, I did a lot of research, and if you look at our presidents of the United States, the majority of them are over 6 feet tall, because our country, and I think this is some way in other countries too, tend to equate height and power. And so it's not as much for women, but really for men. That's why, our pediatrician would always ask me, are you sure you don't want to do growth hormones for the girls? And I would say no. And he always says, yeah, I don't really recommend it for girls, but definitely for boys. And it's kind of like this is the belief in society. Like, they told me at Hayley and Ellie's 2-year-old checkup, the girls would probably be 5 foot. But if they said that to a child with a boy, they would say, we need you to do growth, like you should do growth hormones. And so, it's interesting. I got a letter from a woman very early on. She messaged me on Facebook. Her daughter had got my book as a gift. and she was going through growth hormone therapy, and she was at the beginning of it. And the mom said, "You're never going to believe this," but she decided she wanted to stop because she read the book and she felt like she was okay to be short. Like she felt good about it. And so that was just like such a wonderful message to get.
Yeah.
You know, there's a child who feels like they have to change themselves, and then they realize like, I'm great just the way I am.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you tell us, maybe share a couple other stories about maybe someone who reached out that you can just remember how it hit your heart when?
Oh, this one is so special. So I went to Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, and I read to the kids in their family life center. And there were kids that had been staying in the hospital for long periods of time. And then there were some that actually couldn't come to the family life center. So the show that I did called Storytime with Dot was televised to their rooms, and they could call in, and everybody got a free book, but they can call in and ask questions. And I asked, who here is different? And I kept it very light because of the environment. And I said, I am left-handed. That makes me different because not a lot of people write with their left hand. Mm-hmm. And some of the kids kept it light. And are you left-handed? Yeah. Lefties are the best. And a girl raised her hand. She was probably about 8. And she said, well, I'm different and special because I had a heart transplant and I have someone else's heart in my chest. And I just like, it was such a monumental moment because she took like a lesson in my book and equated it to something so much bigger. And she said, this book made me realize that like I'm unique because not everyone has that. So instead of being the victim, she was a victor. Mm-hmm. And so that was an amazing, I mean, being able to like talk to kids in the hospital. I mean, we're big fans of Lurie Children's Hospital. As I mentioned, Hayley was born there and she stayed in their NICU. And so it's important for me to give back. So anytime I can go to the hospital and read to the kids, it's the most fulfilling thing as an author. Honestly, it's better than school visits. It's better than sales. It's just so, it really fills your bucket.
Mm-hmm. I see she's smiling so big that I can tell, Hayley, that it really means something to you to help other kids out.
One kind of anecdote about Hayley is that I think because she was bullied and she was a victim of this, she is the first one to reach out. And so there was a girl in kindergarten in her class. Her name is Sumi. And Sumi came to a class towards the beginning of the year, but still in the middle, from Yemen, and didn't speak any English. And Hayley came home one day and said, she doesn't speak English, but she doesn't have a friend. I want to be her friend. How could I be your friend? And so Hayley decided, what would you do for her? What did you decide to do, Jo?
I drew a picture.
So Hayley drew a picture and put it on her desk. And then the next day, Sumi drew a picture, and pretty soon they became very good friends. And the mom reached out to me over the summer between kindergarten and first grade and said, I'd like to request from the principal that Hayley and Sumi be in the same first grade class because Hayley showed so much kindness to her that she now loves school and she's, come out of her shell. And so I think that was because Hayley knew what it was like to feel bad.
Mm-hmm. Because of that connection, when you can feel it in someone's spirit, right? I feel like, or you can just feel it in someone's body language that they need someone to just. You ever go through a grocery store line and the person that's cashing you out just looks like they're not having a good day? I always try to crack a joke with someone there, try to maybe make them smile. Because if they smiled, I know that if I hadn't come through the line, they probably weren't going to smile right there. So you had a friend in school that you connected with that you enjoy to see her smile, right?
And I think that's why, she was just listening to the news early March, and she heard them say the hospital is running out of masks. And she ran upstairs. She whipped up a friendship bracelet, which she had been doing like all week. And she said, Mommy, look. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, no. I want to sell these. And I'm like, okay, maybe Grandma and Grandpa buy them. She goes, no, I want to sell them and give all the money to the hospital so they could buy masks. And I was like, that's a great idea. I mean, that's the kind of child she is. She's always like, how can I help? And I think that a lot of it is because she went through a tough period.
Mm-hmm. She knows what it feels like to be someone that needs a little bit of help, a little bit of extra love. And now when you can be the one that gives that extra love, you enjoy that, don't you?
Yep.
And just to reiterate too, because I feel like this little clip right here can be in our highlight. You had a goal of $200 and you raised $20,000 so far. You're just closing in on it. So that's so incredible. And after this interview comes out, I hope people are inspired by you. I know I am. I know many of our listeners will be. They can go to your website and they can continue to donate to help them with masks and anything else that they're doing at the Children's Hospital there. Right?
Yeah, the money goes to the COVID fund. So it's the highest need. One of Hayley, they told us that they bought a ventilator recently with Hayley's money, which is amazing.
Awesome. That is so cool. Now, I'm going to ask Hayley a couple more questions, okay?
Yeah.
If you can go anywhere in the world on vacation, where would you go and why? Interested to hear where you'd want to go.
I would go to Hawaii.
Hawaii. Now, what makes you say that? Did you see that somewhere in a storybook?
It just sounds really fun.
Yeah.
And what kind of dancing do you want to do?
Hula.
Hula dancing. I'm a little bit out of touch with some of the newer Disney movies, but isn't there a Disney movie with a Hawaiian character?
Yeah.
Moana.
Yeah.
Okay, Moana. All right. There you go.
You don't know right off the bat having it better.
I know. It looks like I got to catch up on that one.
Oh, you got lucky. The songs are addicting.
Yeah. I saw parts of it, but we didn't watch the whole thing, and I didn't want to say the wrong character name. I was waiting for you guys to help me out, so thank you for doing that. This is a question for both of you. I'm going to have you each answer this individually to wrap up the show. You see this mug right here, guys? See that, Hayley? It says, be great and be grateful. That's something I like to tell everybody. Be great means whatever you're doing in your heart, whatever you feel here, and you want to make bracelets or have a store or whatever it is, you want to be an author, go and do it and be great at it. Don't do it just kind of okay, a little bit here and there. Go and do it, right? So be great. And then at the same time, be grateful for the things and the blessings that we have, which are our family, right? So I got different things that I'm grateful for, but I want to hear one from, let's do three maybe each, and what you guys can take turns. So let's start with Hayley. What's one thing that you're super thankful for?
I'm thankful that I'm thinking for you.
Aww.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, once we get off, she's going to be like, I just did that for show. What else are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for a lot of things. I'm thankful for the environment.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Anything else? Anything that you love to do?
I'm thankful for dance and gymnastics.
Gymnastics, yeah. Are you in a class right now? It's probably hard because of the whole virus, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
She does it though. She does it in a mask. She takes 5 days a week dance and
That's
1 day a week gymnastics.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have Isabel's now doing some swimming lessons that she's doing, and they have the same thing where they have to wear the face guards and stuff. Pretty crazy. All right. We're passing the torch upwards to Mom. What are three things you're most grateful for?
Well, definitely my family. They have been such a wonderful support system in writing these books and just kind of like rolling with the punches. My husband, my kids, as I'm gone, reading and writing and doing other things. So definitely my family.
Especially me.
My publisher, because as I mentioned, it was that one yes by Mascot Books that changed the course of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I probably would have kept going past 200, but 200 was like, once I stopped, I stopped.
Yeah.
And then I'm thankful, you know, I'm just going to go with what I said earlier. I'm thankful for Starbucks. I'm thankful for my iced coffees because that's the reason I make it through the day. Barely.
Yeah, you look forward to it. You pull up and get that coffee and you just know it's going to.
And I look on Starbucks in the morning at their Instagram to see like, ooh, what are people customizing their coffee with? That's how you know you've become addicted. So
I'm pretty boring. You know, I just black coffee. All I like in my coffee is coffee.
I may invest in one of those like Nespresso machines or something like that so I can make my own, because I'm not kidding. Like I'm in the Starbucks drive-through many. I earn stars like nobody's business.
It's pretty crazy. I think you need like 120 for a free drink or something.
Guess what? you can get any size. And did you know you can get a 30?
I'm going to see if I can borrow your card, and maybe when I go through some freebies.
Right.
Now, final question. I don't mean this to be a curveball here, and we can you can share anything we didn't touch on that you want to make sure you get out there. We can do that too. But this is for you, Lurie. If you can be known for one thing, what would that be?
That is a curveball. I would say in my family, I want to be known as a hustler. I want my kids to see that I'm a hard worker and that hard work pays off. But if I could be known anywhere in the world, I would want to be known for lesson-based books, because I think it's a way for parents to get off the hook sometimes in explaining things to kids. And I think if you can do a lesson-based book right, you can be the one that explains some of those lessons to kids.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to put this back on you. Not so much that the parents are looking for a way off the hook, I think, is what we talked about even, I think, before we started recording is what's great about the books is, it's hard not only as a parent to come to a child and start to talk about something on a deeper level, but they don't always, because we're coming to them first, always want to hear it from mom and dad, right? Mm-hmm. So it just helps set up a nice avenue to have a topical conversation.
Absolutely.
It has great pictures in it, great lessons in it, and it's not something that we always, because I'll tell you, Isabel, she and I have great conversations. Usually when we're driving, we got great music on, we talk back and forth, we sing songs together, and she just opens up. And then there's sometimes I'll ask her, how was your day, or what did you do in school, this and that, and she just doesn't want to talk about it, and it's like, okay, maybe we'll wait until. But I'll say, like, if there's a book or something that I can ask about, maybe that I knew that she read, and I can say, hey, I know you read the Tooth Fairy's tummy ache today in school. What made her tummy ache? She would totally start talking to me. So it's just a great conversation starter for kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lurie Orlinsky, author.com. Again, Orlinsky's with a Y, and you can check her out and her books out on Instagram and Facebook. Lori Orlinsky is ORLINSKY author. Thank you guys for being here. Anything you want to add before we go?
No, thank you so much for having us. And, just 50% of the success of my books are also due to my amazing, amazing illustrator, Vanessa Alexandri. If you notice, I worked with her both times, and she'll be illustrating my third book. She is unbelievable. So I have to give a huge shout out to her. I mean, I had a bunch of authors test sketch for the first book. Then I still had some authors test sketch for the second book, even though I probably knew I was going to go with Vanessa. And for the third book, I'm like, let me just do my due diligence. And like, once Vanessa sent me a sketch, it was like, that's it. I mean, I could never write a book without her. Mm-hmm. She lives in Brazil. And so it's also been a wonderful friendship to form with her. And so I'm very thankful to have her in my life as well.
Yeah, that's a great shout out as well. Shout out to Allison Fody-Bork for connecting the two of us. And how about this? Shout out to Hayley for my awesome bracelet. You know what I think about when I wear this? What? That anything you put your mind to and your heart to, you can make happen.
Yep.
We raised $20,000 from these cool bracelets to help out people in the hospital. Right? So that's something I want everyone to learn. They're going to see your story, and they're going to get a great idea, and they're going to go and do it. And that's what the show is all about. Be great and be grateful. Thank you guys so much for being here. You have a friend here. If you ever need anything, give me a shout.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm so excited we were connected to, and definitely, even though the third book is more topical, I'd love to send Isabel a copy too. So hopefully you don't have to go through pet loss, but if you do, I got you covered.
Yeah. Well, another friend that actually you connected me with has a story with Rosie. Rosie is the name.
Rosie is one of Hayley's friends.
And that's one of Hayley's friends, but that's actually Isabel's cat's name is Rosie. And she's a calico, and there's a calico cat in one of Alley Cat's books, and I think her name is Phoebe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always call her Rosie, though. Don't tell Allison. I call her Rosie.
You're gonna love Rosie's family. They're amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting Paula and Rosie, and just the whole story is incredible too. So
Paula said, you'll see too. Paula says this, but what Rosie lacks in hair, she makes up in personality. I mean, this girl has a personality that you've never seen.
Yeah. And for anyone who's wondering what we're talking about, that's another mother and daughter that are going to be on the show soon. So kind of we're teasing that a little bit. So stay tuned for that episode. Thank you guys for being here. Hayley, have a wonderful school year. Okay. Make sure you have fun during it as well, and cut mom a little bit of slack. Let her get her work done. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Give a shout out to your dad as well. Right. All right. Fist bumped, guys. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
I love you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Check out more show notes and information on each episode at mikeduppodcast.com, MIKED uppodcast.com. We're powered by Social Chameleon. You guys know what to do. Be great and be grateful.